Hello and welcome to your English news broadcast live on ERi-TV. It's exactly 10:30 p.m. on Eritrea's local Greenwich from our headquarters at Asmara with your domestic and international news. I'm Zahra Badouri, but first we'll begin with your major headlines for this broadcast. An announcement from the Ministry of Health. Over 150,000 tree seedlings planted. Eight people killed as Hurricane Grace hits eastern Mexico. Chad will withdraw its troops from G5 Sahel forces. Welcome to your domestic in brief. 3 patients have been diagnosed positive for COVID-19 in tests carried out today at quarantine centers in central Gashbarka and Ansaba regions, as your health report. Out of these, 1 patient is from a quarantine center in Asmara, Central region. 1 patient is from quarantine center in Girmaika, Gashbarka region. The last patient is from a quarantine center in Adtakalizan, Ansaba region. On the other hand, 5 patients have been receiving medical treatment in hospitals in the central region, have recovered fully and have been discharged from these facilities. The total number of recovered patients has accordingly risen to 6,565, while the number of deaths still stands at 37. The total number of confirmed cases in the country to date has increased to 6,623. Ministry of Health, Asmara, 22nd August 2021. Over 150,000 tree seedlings have been planted through the Greening Development Campaign in Halhal and Eritrea subzones, Ansaba region. The campaign also involved renovation of water diversion schemes, according to reports. In Halhal subzone, commendable greening campaign has been conducted since July 1st in Malabso, Halhal, Fanshabuku, Mayawalid, Qartsat, Nrubkat, Rahai, and Gabay Alabu administrative areas. Through the greening campaign, about 133,000 tree seedlings have been planted and terraces have been constructed, the Office of Agriculture in the subzone stated. Mr. Girmatzion Abraha, administrator of Halhal subzone, on his part, commanding the public for strong participation, called on the society and on farmers and administrations, in particular, to strengthen role in ensuring proper follow and protection of the seedlings. In related news, owing to the high school students' summer work program, that 1,050 personnel participated. 22,000 holes were dug and 16,000 of these were planted, and 5,000 trees were cultivated in Eritrea subzone, the agricultural office in the subzone reported. Furthermore, the students constructed about 6,500 meters long terraces, another 7,234 meters long terraces and 669 cubic meter divergent canals were renovated, and 986 meters long canals were constructed with the view to protect transport roads from damage. Mr. Mabrahtu Tawalda Burhan, head of the Forestry and Wildlife Resources at the Ministry of Agricultural branch in Logo Ansaba subzone, reported that commendable water and soil conservation, as well as planting tree seedlings, has been conducted in the subzone through the students' summer work program. According to Mr. Mabrahtu, the students have planted about 8,000 tree seedlings, constructed over 24,000 meters of terraces, and renovated over 1.6 kilometers of dirt road. Mr. Tsahaye Brahane, head of the education in the subzone, said that at the program, in which 589 students, including 319 females and 30 teachers and agricultural and health professionals, took part in commendable activities, have been conducted. The participants on their part expressed satisfaction for the commendable activities they conducted and called for its sustainability. In the same vein, the residents of the administrative areas of Dakshahai, Aden Amin, Dabra Ad Hanas, and Liban, Melanzanai, Dakazor'u, Darsanai, and Maqarka planted over 22,000 tree seedlings in their areas. On your final domestic, training on poetry has been provided to 34 youth in the central region. The trainees graduated yesterday, 21 August. The reports added that the trainees are those that participated at the regional art competition known as Zinar Tibat, and that the trainees aimed at upgrading the capacity of the participants. The training was provided for over a month, according to reports. Speaking at the graduation ceremony, Mr. Andreas Asmara, head of the Cultural and Sport Department at the Central Region, said that the main reason for the organization of the training was to reinforce the poetic skills with science, and that similar training on dancing and painting will be organized in the near future. Up next with your global report. Do stay with us for more. And on your report on the international line, Grace slams into the Mexican coast as Category 3 storm, causing severe flooding and mudslides. Hurricane Grace battered eastern Mexico with torrential rains on Saturday, causing severe floods and mudslides that killed at least 8 people, authorities reported, after it became one of the most powerful storms in years to hit the country's Gulf Coast. Grace was wiping up maximum sustained winds of 201 kilometers per hour, a Category 3 on the 5-step Saffir-Simpson scale, when it slammed into the coast near the resort town of Takaluta in Veracruz state in the early morning. The state government said 8 people were killed by Grace, including 6 from one family. All but one of the victims died in the state capital, Jalapa, including a young girl killed by a mudslide that hit her home, the government reported. Meanwhile, an adult was killed by a collapsed roof in the city of Poza Rica, further north in the state of Veracruz. Governor Catholic Gracia told a news conference. He added that the state of emergency has not added. Similar fishing towns and beach resorts were drenched with rain as Grace made its second landfall in the country in 2 days. Fishermen pulled their boats out of the water and carried them inside harbor to prevent damage as the storm's landing edge wiped at the coast, while merchants boarded up the windows of their businesses to protect themselves. Grace also caused power cut and brought down trees. Images posted on social media showed that damage to buildings and cars submerged by the deluge of rain that the storm brought. Gracia said several rivers in Veracruz would flood and urged the local population to take over. And Dajamina says the strategic redeployment is to better adapt the organization of rebel groups in the region. Chad had said that it was recalled 600 soldiers, half its contingent from the multinational G5 Sahel forces in the troubled 3-border region of Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso, where a surge in violence has costed thousands of lives. Spokesman Abdurrahman Kalamullah told the AFP news agency on Saturday that this is a strategic deployment to better adapt the organization of the terrorists. Chad 1,200-strong contingents was deployed there to fight rebel groups, part of forces to which all 5 of the Sahel region countries, which also include Mauritania, have contributed since the year 2017. Chad's commitment to fighting the rebels remained intact, insisted Kalamullah. The 3-border region, along with central Mali, is the area hardest hit by the rebel fighters, who who have killed thousands of people, soldiers and civilians. France, also heavily involved in the Sahel, recently announced it was cutting in its military presence within the region for about 5,000 to between 2,500 and 3,000 soldiers. Paris had long been calling for the greater Chadian contribution before its soldiers arrived in February, complicating the situation within three border regions in the intra-communal violence there, with several rival armed groups active. Some of the groups operating there are alleged with Al-Qaeda or with the Islamic State in the Greater Sahara, as reported. They play on the local community tension to recruit fighters to their forces, as well as offering protection in return for payment. Dear viewers, that is all for now with your domestic and international news in brief. Until we are back with some more news, stay and enjoy the rest of our programs. But until then, these are your major headlines in review. An announcement from the Ministry of Health. Over 150,000 tree seedlings planted. 8 people killed as Hurricane Grace hits eastern Mexico. Chad says it will withdraw its troops from G5 Sahel forces. That is all for now. Until we are back with some more news, stay and enjoy the rest of our programs. Until then, have a nice one.